In this video, we are going to be looking at something that we call non-Mendelian genetics. And so now we are going to be going into more of a deeper study of genetics. This is definitely going to be more focused on a 9th grade level. And we're going to talk about how genetics isn't always so cut and dry. With Punnett squares, there was always a clear result. There was always 3 possible options. And as you can tell from our study with meiosis and with all that we have been looking at with genetics, there's a lot of factors that go into it. And so we're going to be looking at incomplete dominance, codominance, multiple alleles, and sex-linked traits. Just keep an eye out for those 4 topics throughout this OV. Of course, these are your objectives. You can take a look at these, always come back to them at the end of the video, maybe even during the video, and you can highlight them as a way to cross them off, but then of course you can still see the objectives, and you should be able to complete each one of these things that are listed at the end of this video. All right, let me just move this and we can get started. So the first thing that we're going to be looking at is incomplete dominance. And so this is when we are going to have a blend of both traits if they are both present. And so this means that neither trait is dominant. And a good way to remember this is that incomplete dominance is a blend of 2 traits. So that's like when you're mixing paint, remember all of those paint mixing videos. So you can remember those paint mixing videos as incomplete dominance. And we can go right into an example of incomplete dominance. And so I will read this out for you. In some flowers, the alleles for flower color are both equal. Therefore, neither dominates over the other, incomplete dominance. Instead, they blend to create pink flowers if both genes are present. So again, we have that paint mixing analogy. Show a cross between a red flower, capital R, and a white flower, capital W, capital W. And so you can see in the box below that you have parent 1, capital R, parent 2, capital W, capital W. And then what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to attempt to create this type of a Punnett square. So if you're able to put the correct letters under parent 1 and to the side of parent 2, you can do the cross. And then I would like you to pause the video, do this cross here, and then resume the video, and we'll give you the answers. All right, so hopefully these were the answers that you received after doing the cross. You can see that the 4 offspring are going to have the trait capital R, capital W, and then those are going to mix together to create that pink colored flower. A little bit of red, a little bit of white, and you get pink. So now we're going to move on to another example. We're going to be talking about how in humans you can have straight hair, which would be capital S, and curly hair, capital C. These are going to show incomplete dominance, and so then the result would be a person with wavy hair. The Punnett square is going to ask you to cross a curly-haired female with a wavy-haired male. In this example, it doesn't say anything about how a person's sex would affect their phenotype, and so you can just go ahead and create this cross. It's going to ask you for parent 1, who is going to be having that wavy hair, and then parent 2, who is going to be having that curly hair. So go ahead and follow the outline and within the question, and then you can do this cross. There's going to be a lot of stopping, doing the work, and then starting the video again. So get used to that. That's going to be how this video runs. So at this point, stop the video, do this cross, and then we'll come back to it. All right, so let's see what you got. It said cross a curly-haired female, so I personally put that under parent 1 with a wavy-haired male, and so I put that to the side of parent 2. And my outcome was that I had 2 individuals who were going to be having the wavy hair, and then 2 other individuals, 2 other offspring, who are going to have that curly-haired trait. And so you can see here that this was an example of incomplete dominance where we had a 50-50 split. Another thing to note is that because both of these traits are going to be dominant together, we're not seeing any use of a lowercase letter within these Punnett squares. And that is going to be a huge difference when we get into these later examples. So always remember that incomplete dominance, always using those capital letters. Let me move this one. All right, now we're good. So here we have our second example, and this is when we are going to be talking about codominance. So codominance is exactly what it talks about. There's that prefix co, that means together. And so this is going to show both traits if they are present. Another example, like co-authors of a book, if you're reading a book and you have co-authors, both of their names are going to appear. Or with planes, co-pilots, both people are going to be driving that plane. And so if you look at the picture down below, you're going to be seeing examples of dominant. That's going to be the darker flower. The recessive trait is going to be that lighter flower. And then you're going to see a codominance, which it looks like a bunch of spots. And so here we're showing that both traits are present. And then in this flower, it's showing that this flower is spotted. Next to that, we have incomplete dominance, and that's going to be the 2 colors mixed together like paint. So right now we are focusing on codominant, so let's keep looking at that flower that looks a little bit spotted. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a Punnett square calculation for this example. All right, so in cattle or cow, neither red nor white hair dominates. So instead, both show up to make a color which we call roan. Show a cross between a roan bull and a roan cow. And so the roan bull is going to be your parent 1, and that roan cow is going to be your parent 2. Let's go ahead and set up the cross, and then we'll check back in and see what the results are. All right, so you should have received that all of these offspring are going to be showing that roan color. And the roan color is going to show codominance, which is the capital R, capital W. All right, so we have our next example. This is called multiple alleles. This is where everything starts to get a lot more tricky. These are things that you have not seen before. And so again, it's really important that you are stopping the video, working out these Punnett squares, because these are the types of examples and problems that you're going to be seeing on tests. So you have to be able to do these crosses in order to get the results that you need to then analyze. So our multiple alleles, this is where we have more than 2 forms of an allele for each gene. It's a lot of words, but when we break it down, it makes more sense. So for example, in humans, we have 4 different types of blood types. We have type A, type B, type AB, or type O. And then down below, it gives you a little bit more information so that you're able to complete crosses. So it says that alleles A and B are codominant to each other, and the O allele is recessive to both A and B. So here we're going to be pulling in all of those different ideas: codominance, recessive, dominant, and we're going to use all of those things that we know to figure out Punnett squares for multiple alleles. All right, so right off the bat, we're going to give you the information for this Punnett square. because these are examples of problems that you have not seen written out before. So here we go. A man with blood type AB marries a woman with type O. Show the possible genotypes and phenotypes for their children. And so then down below, we're going to show you how you write out these multiple alleles. So allele for type A is going to be I with a superscript A. Allele for type B is I with a superscript B. And then we have the allele for type O, which is going to be the lowercase I. And so those capital I's are going to be showing that type A and B are codominant. And then the superscripts are going to show the difference between the two. And then, of course, that lowercase I, just like before, is showing that it's recessive. So then here we go. We put parent 1 as the man, and so he said that he has blood type AB. So you need to show the allele for type A, which is in the first column. So we have capital I superscript A, and then we have the allele for the B type, which is capital I superscript B. For parent 2, it says that she is going to have type O blood, and we are only going to be seeing type O blood if it is a recessive trait for both alleles. So we can go ahead and we can put lowercase i's for both of this parent. Then, when you do the crosses, you're going to see that each one of these children is going to receive the recessive allele for type O. However, from the father, they are going to receive either the type A allele or the type B allele. Because these are dominant, these are going to show. And so as a result, we're going to have a possibility of 2 children with type A or 2 children with type B. This one is the first one you're going to do on your own. A woman with type A blood and a man with type AB blood have a baby. The woman is suing the man for child support, but he is refusing to pay because he says the baby, who has type O blood, is not his. Is he right, or should he be paying? This one's a little tricky. So it says that the woman has type A blood. Think about the possibilities of how we could represent type A blood. And that the man has type AB blood. So think about how we're going to be representing those multiple alleles within each of the individuals. Stop the video, try to figure this one out, think about all of the different possibilities. Maybe you should do more than one of these Punnett squares just to check yourself, and then we can come back to it. Alright, so here we go. Parent 1 is going to be the woman, and so under her box, I put, just for my own reasons, whatever I chose that she was going to be showing the dominant allele for both of her alleles. And so I put capital I superscript A for both of her alleles. And then for the father, it stated that he was type AB blood. And so I put type A blood, capital I superscript A, type B, capital I superscript B. When you do this cross, you're going to be seeing that there are no recessive traits showing for the baby. And remember that recessive trait is only going to show if both parents bring in a recessive type allele. Thus, because the father is type AB blood, he is not going to have the O allele. Therefore, this baby is not his, and he should not be paying child support. He was right.